In the Chesapeake Bay, a 300-kilometer-long inlet in the eastern United States, there's an island that is slowly being erased by time and erosion. But 71-year-old Stephen White is pushing back, fighting nature. He vowed to save the dying island after his first visit, when he stumbled over a gravestone of a young girl named Effie. The message carved into her stone said, "All I ask is don't forget me." Mr. White has the energy and commitment of someone 30 years younger, and he's dedicated it all to saving the island. Holland Island is small, uninhabited, and occupies 32 hectares in the Chesapeake Bay. The only building remaining is a single house. 100 years ago, the island was 4 times larger than it is today. Back then, 300 families lived here. Most of them made their living by fishing. But 80 years ago, the islanders began to notice more and more that the land under their feet was washing away. Most left in the 1920s. Only the elderly, or those unwilling or unable to make a living on the mainland, stayed behind.
You can imagine me stumbling on this, didn't know it was here.
On his first visit to the forgotten island, White discovered gravestones hidden in the forest, all that was left of the generations of families that used to live here.
That I was walking down in the main part of the island and I found this cemetery that I did not know existed. And I saw this grave of a lady. I said, Lord, she was 25 years old when she died. Her name was Annie McNamara Wilson. Well, I looked and there was a grave beside hers, and I read that, and it was her daughter. Annie died at 25. I think 7 years later, her daughter died at 13. Looks like 18, 20 something. So he lived a pretty good life. And I started reading that, and forget me not is all I ask. I could not ask for more. And I started weeping. And I stood up, I said, God being my judge, God being my helper, this island will be saved. And I said, Effie, I swear on the ground that you rest in that I will die trying to save this island. And that drives me when I get discouraged. You could take that point, that point down there, for instance, that I'm pointing at, swing around the back.
A former Methodist church minister, Stephen White tried everything he knew to get the attention of nearby citizen groups and local government to help save the island. He received a cold response. With no one to help, he considered giving up, but the words on the young girl's grave kept him going. In 1995, he used a large part of his retirement money to buy the rights to the island. He borrowed dredging machines and began slowly filling in the eroded area. Mr. White knows that if he doesn't stop the erosion, the little island will vanish forever beneath the waves. Environmental experts agree that the rising seawater level that is eroding away the island is due to the greenhouse effect and other factors beyond human control. But Mr. White doesn't agree. He believes that with enough human effort, the erosion can be halted, that is, with enough money and the right tools. He devotes 2 days a week to working on the island. When he dies, he will leave the rights to the island to the government. But he doesn't plan on that happening anytime soon. And he hopes there may be time enough to keep his promise to the young girl. Mr. White knows that every gravestone on the island hides a human spirit, with a story worth knowing. He hopes by trying to save the island, those stories won't fall to the bottom of the sea, to be lost forever.